guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I am at a racetrack, but not the regular kind of racetrack. And definitely that's not the regular kind of horsepower that we talk about. But guess what? The reason why I chose this location is because it's a special review. This vehicle right next to me is owned by no other than a very good friend. He first was just a subscriber, very good friend, and also one of the great videographers that we have here on Rady's Rides. Whose vehicle is this? This is Stephen Flood's vehicle. And what the heck is it? It's a 2019 Honda Civic Type R. But before we get into this polished metal metallic color, which actually is no longer in production, which is kind of cool, let's talk about what's going on here. So Stephen and I have had a little bit of a history going back a few years. When I first met him, when I was actually filming at a local dealership in the Newport Richey area. From there on, he came on out to a Rady's Rides celebration at Walker Ford. And once I saw his camera skills, I knew that we had to add him to our edition with LG Rady, Lori Gibbons Rady, working the camera. But guess what? What also makes Stephen such a good videographer and photographer when it comes to cars, or even people, is that he's a car enthusiast. Obviously, you can tell by the type of car that he has. But what I want to do is I wanted to feature his car because I feel like there's a question out there that a lot of you have. You're thinking about getting a hot hatch, maybe getting one of those performance compact sedans. Do you search for a pre-owned FK8 Type R, just like Stephen's, or do you go with something brand new? Whether it be a new Type R, which is the FL5, or something that would be closer in price point, would be either a pre-owned FK8 or a brand new Elantra N. Let's go ahead, let's see what's unique about Stephen's and see if you should be getting yourself an FK8. Let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the look of the FK8. Obviously, when it first came out, and even to this day, people know that this is the more aggressive styled Type R. Probably the most out of all the different generations, which remember, when the FK8 first came to the United States, that was in 2017. That was the first time we ever had a Type R, in 2017 here in the United States. 20 years before that, that's when the official Type R was born, which was only available in certain parts of the world, like Japan, of course. Now, when you look at the FK8, I think once you understand that all of the folds and bends and bulges are functional, then you start to appreciate what this car is about. Now, at the front of the business, you'll notice the style of LED lighting. You're not getting just Thomas Edison light bulbs. We have LED turn signals, LED daytime running lamps, and full LED headlights. Working your way down, remember we have that functional side venting. This is not for brake cooling. This is actually for channeling the air up and over the inside of the fender. And then one thing that Stephen did was he got rid of one of my zonks. We have functional corner air intakes for all the cooling and for all that functionality. Plus they look damn good. With those open vents, you are able to keep, as you can see, Stephen was able to keep the LED fog lamps, which remember on the new Type R or the Hyundai Elantra N, they don't come with fog lamps. So if you're a fan of fog lamps, FK8 is right up your alley. Now you are going to get that aggressive aero from the factory. You have that splitter, the dive plane that curves up on the side. And this is not real carbon fiber, but boy, oh boy, I remember when this first came out, when I had my 2017 FK8 Type R, my Race Red one, or I should say Race Red, Rally Red. Race Red is a Ford color. Rally Red is a Honda color. Got to remember all these things. I remember a lot of people were thinking that this was real carbon fiber. And then, of course, the Type R had the red pinstriping. Now, as we come across that front nose, you'll notice this is the stock upper grille area, full functionality. You got the Honda badge. This badge goes back to the 1960s when Honda was in for the first time in Grand Prix racing. And of course the Type R badge. When you see that badge, you know you're getting more performance. Now, as we work our way down, you do have functionality in the center, and you'll notice that Steven went ahead and made an addition. He actually swapped out intercoolers, got rid of the stock one, got a larger one. He also changed out the couplers for the intercooler, and we're going to talk more about that when we pop the hood. Now, one of the things that people were noticing when they would go do track days, like Steven has done track days with this vehicle, is that the temps were getting a little hot. And one of the things that Steven wanted to do was keep all the temps in check. And when you go with a larger intercooler, especially since this is a turbocharged intercooled engine, it's going to help with overall performance and keeping the temps down. Now, as we rise up, one of my favorite parts that is on this vehicle compared to my FL5 Type R or an Elantra N is you have this functional hood scoop. Now, what's interesting is that this is not for feeding air into the engine. It brings cool air into the engine compartment and then takes the hot air out, and it's gonna flow it out the side fender vents. So this is not a hood scoop feeding air into the engine like maybe on a Subaru WRX. But that hood scoop definitely looks nice and aggressive. Yes, my Type R has a heat extractor, and that looks cool too, but I do like the hood scoop, and I am jealous that the FL5 does not have a hood scoop. Obviously, the Elantra N, you're not getting anything. So something to think about. When you come around the bend, what do we got? Wheel and tire set. First of all, you'll notice Steven went ahead and got these smoked out side side marker lights, nice and fogged out with the smoke. And then we have the 20-inch stock wheels, but we'll talk about this in a second. You got your 4-piston Brembo calipers and 2-piece rotors Steven added. Now, he went with a 2-piece rotor because that cuts down on rotating weight, rotating mass, but it also helps cool the brakes, dissipate heat from the braking system. Steven went ahead, got rid of those Continental Sport Contact tires, and went with a good tire setup on here. He has the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and he actually went with a little bit different tire size. So they're 255 on the width and a 35 series sidewall, which almost makes the car look like it's been lowered a little bit. But guess what? Steven has not added lowering springs to this vehicle. Now remember, if you're looking at an FL5 Type R or an Elantra N, both of those come with 19-inch wheels. The FL5 Type R still has Brembo brakes, but you're not getting any upgraded brakes on the Elantra N. All of them across the board, including this vehicle, has a limited slip differential. Now, working our way down the side, I'm gonna have Steven swing around and show you on his very own car those functional side fender vents. It's gonna drag the hot air down the side of the vehicle. And from the side, you are gonna notice you're getting that 4-door hot hatch usability. Elantra N is a sedan. FL5 is still a hatchback. He added these rain guards. This is something that's nice to let some cool air in when it's raining. You can lower your window and still not get rain inside, so that's been added. He also added these Mugen carbon fiber, basically paint guards. Some people would say they're door handle guards. It's not really a door handle guard. What happens is if you got a lot of bling, like sometimes the ladies that Steven likes to bring into his Type R, they have a lot of bling on their hands. This is gonna stop them from scratching the hell out of your car. So, and they're made by Mugen, which Mugen and Honda kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly. Working our way, you can see the side skirt extension, that faux carbon fiber. It looks good, I'm telling you. And he has about 50,000 miles on this thing or so. So, I mean, he's been taking care of it. He uses it every day. It's his daily driver. And it still looks great. Now remember, that air I told you about that comes out of the front fender hits this back fender flare area. And that's why it's angled like this. Not just to look freaky. It's meant to hit here. The air hits here and then goes up and over. That's the aero work that Honda did with this vehicle. Working our way towards the rear, you got that massive rear wing. The vortex generators off the rear glass that cleans the air as it comes towards the wing. And then, unlike The new Type R, I do like the way they painted, body colored the end caps. Just gives it a nice look with the gloss black in the center, and you have another wing on the lower portion as well. It's not just a kick up, it's an actual another spoiler to help channel that air. On the Elantra N, it does have a rear wing. It's a pedestal style. It's very low to the trunk, and it's kind of bent like, it almost looks like one of those origami cranes. You know, the ones where people go, look, it's flying. I guess it's functional, and I guess it looks okay, but I prefer this. That's just me. Now, you do get LED lighting on the taillights. Nope. Take that back. Steven, I'm going to have to zonk you. We got, well, not zonk Steven, we got zonk Honda. It's got light bulbs for the taillights, light bulbs for the turn signals. But remember, this is a 2019. Technically, it came out in 2017. So Thomas Edison will let it slide. So maybe we'll just give him a half zonk. Only because I work with Steven and I don't want to hurt his feelings too much. Type R badge in the back, of course. You do still have the waffle griddle style fake vents on the back. Not my favorite. They kind of cleaned that up a little bit in 2020, like this much, by adding some body work in there to kind of take up some of that space. Love that bright red Honda badge. So many Honda owners of non-Type Rs like to put these on their vehicles. They're just pretenders. This is the real deal vehicle for it to have it. And then dropping it like it's hot, we have this nice carbon fiber bumper applique, because Steven does not want to scratch his rear bumper when taking all his camera gear out. And then you have the stock functional rear diffuser, but boy, oh boy, that is not stock. You have an NVIDIA 400 triple exhaust tips. I like the way they're all the same size, but what I do really like is how the center one actually comes out further than the other two. It's got a nice staggered setup to it. Let me know how you feel about that NVIDIA 400 exhaust on this thing. I can't wait to let you hear it. But why don't we go ahead? I think we covered everything here. Let's pop the hood and see what Steven has done to his Type R. All right, guys, here's where things get really good because Steven has made some nice changes. What do we got going on here? First of all, we have that PRL larger intercooler, right? That was something that Steven felt was a necessity since he was taking it to the track. You'll also notice some other PRL goodies under here. We have our open air box with our race style cone filter. You have, of course, your PRL Motorsports intake, larger intake tube, and then you'll notice some other touches going on here. Let's talk about that. So what you're gonna find is that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Stock, it was rated at 306 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and it's mated to one transmission, a 6-speed manual transmission only. Now, besides the PRL Motorsports goodies that I told you about and the NVIDIA R400 exhaust, he also has a PTP Lava turbo blanket and turbo inlet bracket. He has a Rebel GT, that rear bumper applique that we talked about already, whoopity-doo-dah. But what's really great is that he has those dual catch cans. That is important when you're running a turbocharged engine. Any oil blow-by is going to go into those catch cans and not go down into the combustion chamber and could eventually cause situations down the road, as we say. And then when it comes down to shifting, he's got an acuity shifter and bushings to help even make that 6-speed manual even better when it comes to shift quality. But if you didn't know what you were looking at, there are your catch cans. Obviously, we talked about the turbo blankets. That's also important when it comes. You also have the other catch can in the back, dual catch cans. A lot of times vehicles, like I said, turbocharged vehicles, they do really well. Even naturally aspirated vehicles. On my Shelby GT350R, I added a couple catch cans because it just really helps prolong the wellness of the engine overall, especially if you're tracking it. But why don't we go ahead? We talked about some of these changes. Obviously, if you pick up a pre-owned one, you might be able to get one that already has the changes done to it, and then you don't have to spend the money on it. Whereas if you bought a brand new Elantra N, if you wanted to do any of this, or if you bought a new Type R, if you want to do any of this, you're going to be spending the money at the end of the day. That's going to hurt the bottom line. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire up Steven's FK8 Type R and hear that exhaust. All right, guys, we are inside Steven's very own 2019 FK8 Type R. I was actually wrong. I thought he had 50,000 miles. He actually has 57,166 miles. This car does not look like it has that many miles. And wait until we go on throttle. She runs like she's just been born right out of the factory. I would say Japan, but remember, FK8s were not built in Japan. They were built in England. But anyways, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm glad that Steven decided to let you borrow the keys to his Type R after all these years that he's known you. He trusts you. I'm really curious, though, what should I do? So I'm glad that you're doing this review. What is the cost of Steven's FK8 Type R? Well, remember, this is not brand new. And it's really going to depend what you could track down pre-owned. My advice is always try to get the nicer car. Even if it costs you a little bit more, it may save you big bucks at the end of the day. But back in 2019, which was obviously before the pandemic, this had an MSRP of close to $37,000. Man, have things changed, because an MSRP for an FL5 Type R, brand new Type R, is about almost $45,000. And the MSRP starting for a Hyundai Elantra N brand new is around $35,000. So as you can see, it's an interesting conundrum to be in. Do you go pre-owned? Do you go with a new Elantra N? Is this the better car, even pre-owned, than an Elantra N? That's what we're gonna find out. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what 2019 was all about when it came to the Honda Civic Type R. To the door panels. I like the soft touch material. You have that carbon fiber weave in there, looking clean. Even the red trim, it looks like it's anodized aluminum. The Alcantara material, the red stitching. The armrest is a little hard on the elbow, but it does look good with the Alcantara. And you do have a good size door pocket there where you could easily get 2 cheeseburgers, a fish fillet, which is Steven's favorite, and a large Pepsi to wash it down. Now going from the door panel to the dash, same thing. The carbon fiber style, that red anodized trim. You come on over. The one thing I like about Steven's Type R, better than my own new Type R or a Hyundai Elantra N, is I like the way the screen is integrated. It's not sticking up, it's not all over the place, and it just handles infotainment system stuff. I don't need it to do anything else. But it's full touchscreen. In 2019, they brought back the real volume knob. That was a special thing, because a lot of people were complaining about that. You got your start-stop button, which lights up bright red. You got your dual climate control. And then this is where the magic happens. This is probably one of the best transmissions, other than a transmission in a 911 GT3. This Type R 6-speed is a hot knife through butter, and with the Acuity additions that he made, it really just has a nice, short, crisp throw, strong engagement. Really, really wonderful. You have that aluminum shift knob with the gear pattern on there, the leather shift boot with the red stitching. Of course, you got your mode selector switch and the Type R serial number. You'll notice that you could fit a ginormous Yeti-sized can in these cup holders. Steven has all his keys and stuff in here. Oh, look, when you get the shifter, you actually get a little bit of a key fob thing here. So there's the brand. I'm not getting paid for that. Alcantara on the armrest, lots of storage, and then the seats. These are awesome. They hold you in so well. I like the extra gripping material, the embroidery, the bolstering is fantastic. Manual adjustment for the passenger and the driver, but you know what? It's easy to set it and forget it, just like one of those Ron Popeil rotisserie ovens. And then of course you get the red seat belts. That's worth an extra 5 horsepower. Come on over though to the business end. I got a special steering wheel I want to introduce you to. Let me show you. All right guys, business time, behind the wheel. I think for Steven, it's almost, it feels like maybe I'm kissing his girlfriend right now and he has to film me doing it. Isn't that weird? Sitting behind the wheel. No, not doing it, doing the kissing, not, listen, I'm married. But anyways, you do have your Type R sill plate. This is something that was upgraded with the little R that illuminates at night. And then you'll notice the pedal box, aluminum pedal for the clutch, the brake, and the throttle. Nice size dead pedal, but I do have to zonk it. I would like to see an aluminum dead pedal to match the actual pedals in the pedal box, but perfect for heel toe downshifting, or this does have the automatic rev match downshifting if you prefer. You do have your seat controls that are manual. They're easy to adjust. These seats though are freaking phenomenal. They don't squeeze you like a vice grip. They're not like the seats in a Focus RS. I have to admit, I do like the seats in the Elantra N, but I do like these better overall. Steering wheel, Galaxy Customs. Look them up on the interweb. This is one of their custom steering wheels. Love the dry weave carbon fiber with the red stripe top dead center, perforated leather on the sides, flat bottom with the red stitching. Just really superb on the quality and the fit and the feel and the finish. You have those weird Game Boy buttons that I've never been a fan of, but you know what? The rest of the wheel is just so perfect. It is manual, tilting, and telescoping. And then you do have that 7-inch digital display in the center that you can go through a cornucopia. For some reason, Steven has fuel economy up. I don't know what the hell he's doing there, but we're gonna go ahead and keep going all the way to where we can get stuff like this. What do we have going on here now? Now you could get where you have your brake, your throttle, really nice to have that. You could also scroll and get the boost gauge. I think we're gonna leave that there. You could also put a G meter, but how in the hell are you gonna watch it while you're going through the twisty bits? Now we do have a back seat. It does have plenty of room for passengers. The only problem is you can only put 2 passengers in the back because of where they put the cup holders on the Type R. And there is a hatch, because this is a hatchback. Lots of room, a lot more room than Elantra N, just as much room pretty much as the new Type R. If you really want to see it, I'll show it to you in my other reviews. I'll leave it at the end of this one. What I want to do is, it's that time, Steven. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle in Steven's Type R. All right, guys, we are behind the wheel, the Galaxy Custom Steering Wheel in Steven's Type R. Right away, you're gonna love that NVIDIA 400 exhaust. It sounds superb, something that is a necessity in an FK8 or a brand new Type R. You gotta change the exhaust. You got to. The Acuity shifter and everything, just, I don't know, it just has this amazing feel to it. And if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna go on throttle. On throttle, here we go, yeah! Woo! You hear that intake noise, the pops, the bangs. God, I love this car. Woo, that freaking shifter. That's what I like about what Steven has done to his Type R, is that it's kind of opened up Pandora's box in a good way to allow all that intake noise to take place, because you're in a turbocharged engine. It shouldn't be this totally quiet experience. And for some reason, Honda can't get that through their head. It's like they do intake noise as well, but let's be honest with you, the stock exhaust in this vehicle and the stock exhaust in an FL5 Type R they're too quiet. That's why I had to change mine. That's why Steven changed his. The downside of that is that that's gonna cost you extra money. You buy an Elantra N, it's got a pretty damn good exhaust stock with all the pops and the bangs, but you know, I guess the good news in it is that if you gotta change the exhaust, you could also pick an exhaust that is more to your personalized touch. There's different ways to do the exhaust. They don't all have to look like Steven's. Even though Steven's looks pretty damn good, there's different ones out there, so you could be a little choosier. Whereas on the Elantra N, anytime you see an Elantra N, it's gonna have that exhaust. Steering wheel, I love this freaking wheel. I love the whole gear shifter. It's like the gear lever now, before it was good, it was almost like firing off a rifle. This thing now is just like a race car where it's just like click, 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 click. Absolutely superb. You're not gonna miss a gear, a shift whatsoever. And when you're in this car, it just all comes together very, very nice. All right, guys, more twisty bit action. Let's go down to second gear. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. 4,000 RPM. On throttle, here we go. All the way up to 7,000. Woohoo! Snap, crackle, pop, baby. Look at this. Look at this. Brakes feel good. Those two-piece rotors. The tires. Everything just really all connects. That's what I love about this car, is that it's so balanced. Even though it's a front-wheel drive car, you don't have torque steer. It's so balanced, you can tell how much grip you have. And with the addition of those Michelin Pilot Sport Forest tires, Steven was so smart to go with a tire choice like that, because you're gonna get extra grip. They wear a hell of a lot better than the Continentals that come on this car. And everything else just, you're held so well in this seat, but yet it's comfortable. And that's the thing, is with the adaptive suspension, you got your three different settings, and when you're in comfort mode, it actually cruises down the highway so nicely. Another thing that I kind of like is that Plus R mode, which is what we're in, is actually a little bit more usable. Plus R mode in my Type R is way too stiff. Way too stiff. You have to be on a Formula One spec Grand Prix race circuit that is like pool table smooth to really take advantage of that. On these back twisty roads, Plus R mode with the tires and everything else feels fan-freaking-tastic. Let's drop it down, third gear, second gear. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Love it. Whoa, ABS kicking in a little bit there. Gotta get used to it. Nice. Decreasing radius. Back end comes out just a little bit so you can square off the corner. Nice. So what I felt and what you experienced in the video there is that the ABS didn't like how deep I was going on the brakes. Something that you just have to remember, ABS, how it works and what it's gonna give you feedback wise. But other than that, the car is so balanced, and the fact that you're able on a front wheel drive car to get that back end to just come around a little bit to help you square off the corner just allows you to take those twisty bits more aggressively and carry your speed through them so that you're faster. And I love that about this car. All right, guys, one more time for me. Definitely one more time for you and one more time for Steven. Let's do a third gear roll on. You ready? On throttle, here we go. Third gear, look at that. All the way up the red line, nice pop out the back. Woo-hoo. Yeah, get it. Give it to me. Look at that. I tell you, driving this car, it gives you so much confidence, and it allows you to take advantage of all the power that it has. And that's what makes it so much fun. Would I get one of these over an Elantra N? Yeah. I really think that on paper, the Type R's, FK8, FL5 are better than a brand new Elantra N if you get an FK8. And then, like I said, you might be able to work it out well where you have some extra do-re-mi, and then you could add a few of the things that Steven added. But I'm hoping that this has been informative. I know Steven really wanted to just share his baby with all of you, especially being a car enthusiast himself. But just like all good things, they must come to an end. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and wrap it up in Steven's Type R. I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys. It's been one heck of a day. You know, it's awesome working with Steven on a regular basis, but it's also awesome to cover his own car. Make sure you check out his Instagram page. Right below me, his handle should be popping up, S Flood Photo. Not only does he work with Rady's Rides, but he also has Steven Flood Photography, which is his own business. He does car photography, photographies of babies, photographies of weddings, photographies of I think he even took a couple photo shoots of people giving birth to their babies. So kind of interesting, even a circumcision here and there. But show him some love in that comment section for letting him, or I should say letting me, get behind the wheel of his FK8 Type R. Thank you, Steven, for tossing me the keys. But at the end of the day, what do you think? Would you go pre-owned FK8 Type R? Because remember, the FK8 gen goes from 2017 all the way to 2022. So something to think about there. They did do a refresh in 2020. Are you going to go with an FK8? Are you going to go with a new Elantra N? Because the prices might be close to a pre-owned FK8 compared to a brand new Hyundai Elantra N? Or are you just going to blow the bank and go all the way for an FL5 Type R? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rights family. We've already thanked Steven for throwing us the keys to his baby. We also got to thank him for working behind the lens. It's kind of a awkward feeling for him, giving the keys over, but yet having to hold on to the camera. He made it happen. He makes dreams happen. He makes the pictures, the moments. He gets them saved forever, for a lifetime for people. So show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Steven, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.